Hello, you're listening to Arts Talk Radio, and I'm Michael Hasted. We bring you regular news, reviews and interviews relating to all aspects of the arts in Holland, concentrating on events in Amsterdam, The Hague, Rotterdam and the surrounding areas. Arts Talk Radio online. Interviews and features on the arts in Holland, in English. In a rich and varied programme this week, I'm talking to a Portuguese singer-songwriter who lives in Rotterdam and to two English actors who live and work in Amsterdam. And I discover that one is never far from the dreaded Brexit. But first, a bit of music.
Tomada de urgência, surpresa entoando, com o ouvido aguardando, vem no ar, som da inocência, grito ecoando, entre muros chamando.
That was MAGDA Mendes, a Portuguese singer-songwriter who lives in the Netherlands. Her music is based on the traditional fado of her home country. And while everyone is familiar with flamenco, fewer people are aware of fado. So when I met up with Magda recently for a chat, I wanted to know a little bit more about it.
It's a style from Lisbon, born in Lisbon and performed essentially in Lisbon. In the meanwhile, all over the country in Portugal, there's good fado happening. But it was born there in the small streets of Alfama and Moraria and Bairro Alto a long time ago.
You write all your own songs?
I write all my songs, yes. Many of my songs are also not fado, traditional fados.
No, because you sometimes work with a band, don't you? Or
yes,
with,
exactly.
Musicians.
So for this project, I'm doing with the guitar, with the Portuguese guitar and the viola and guitarra portuguesa, and with my other projects, we also might sound a bit like fado, but we make, like I said, a bit more like Portuguese chamber music for the last album I brought out.
Because the lineup is basically woodwind, isn't it? I mean,
yes,
5 or 6.
In the last one, it's percussion, guitar, singing, and then 5 woodwinds.
Tira o lenço, bolsa o cabelo, que a azeitona já cintila no lagar. Com este tempo que tu lá dentro, lembra-te o cheiro das esquinas no olivar. Cantigas içadas pelo vento, mentiras caladas por dentro. Sem o lenço, o teu cabelo lembra-me as asas que se agitam nos varais. Não vais tão cedo, não tenhas medo, que a casa é tua, não pertence aos demais. castiga, irada voz por dentro, a mentira calada por dentro. Sem o lenço, o teu cabelo lembra-me as asas que se agitam nos varais. Não vais tão cedo, não tenhas medo, que a casa é tua, não pertence aos
I may be wrong because I don't understand the lyrics, but I get the impression, I think most people get the impression that fado is sad, melancholy. Is that true?
I think it's often true. What the fado has, it at least for me, it gives me a chance to, if whatever is an extreme emotion, like extreme homesickness or longing for something, I'm allowed to totally express that in that style. I sing, as I said, other styles, and then I don't expose myself so much as in fado. In fado, I feel like I'm allowed to, and it's great to have that.
And you actually live in the Netherlands, don't you?
I live in Rotterdam.
In Rotterdam, okay.
Yes.
And you play all over all the time, I think.
Yes.
I've looked at your schedule, and it's 3 or 4 nights a week, every week.
Right now, yes, because we have this tour, and afterwards we go to Utrecht, and there we have quite a lot of concerts coming, and I am busy with this OLIVEIRAS, with my new program.
That's your new album is coming out. Is that out already?
It's already out, but we will have a theatre program. We will build a theatre program.
Because I think you're doing a big gig at the De Dolen, aren't you, in Rotterdam?
Yes, 5th of April is the premiere of this theatre tour, and then we'll play all over the country. Probably we'll have even a reprise of that show.
Well, obrigado. And
De nada. Muito bem.
that's the extent of my Portuguese, actually.
A calçada cinza, tão cinza, não é polida nem curtida pelo sol. Os passos sapateiam, mas sem o eco se calam, e na pressa não afagam. Nódoas de pastilha, dão cor fingida, pontos brancos levianos. E a arte deste manto não me comove, nem me causa espanto. Tapete a branco e preto, que arejo na varanda da janela, escuto o meu nome, quem me chama. A calçada fria tem jeito fusco, sem a alegria do que busco. E os sonhos em mosaico, eles sempre tantos, vão seguindo um pouco mancos. Tapete a branco e preto, que arejo na varanda da janela, escuto o meu janela escuto o meu nome, quem me chama, quem me chama, quem me chama.
That was Portuguese singer-songwriter Magda Mendes. Her new album is called OLIVEIRAS, and she'll be performing it live throughout the Netherlands until the end of May. Arts Talk Radio online. I was in Haarlem the other day for the opening night of the Amsterdam-based QE2 theatre company's latest production. I talked to actors Loveday Smith and Mark Winstanley in their dressing rooms at the theatre at the Pletterij Cultural Centre. I started by asking Loveday to tell me about the play.
It's called Scary Bikers, and it's by Britain's, I think he's third most performed playwright. He always says that Alan Ayckbourn and Shakespeare are the only ones that are ahead of him, and Shakespeare's dead, so really his only competition is Alan Ayckbourn. But his name is John Godber, and he's a Yorkshire playwright. Absolutely. And he's written a fine Yorkshire play. I don't know whether he would agree with this, but we think it's a romantic comedy.
We do.
Yeah.
And the title's a bit misleading because I think he chose Scary Bikers because it rhymes with Hairy Bikers, the well-known chefs. But there's nothing really scary about it.
No.
Is there?
Well, me on a bike is quite scary.
Is it? That first time on the tandem was quite scary.
Yeah, that was very scary. I should explain for
Yes, explain what the play is about.
The play is about it's about Carol and Don, and they meet each other second time around. They've both been bereaved. Carol's lost her husband, Don's lost his wife, and they meet each other and they form this friendship out of which love grows. But they end up, before they know each other very well, agreeing to go on this bike ride all around Europe together. To Florence, of course. It's part of Carol's bucket list. And they set off on a tandem on the day of the referendum, where they discover that their political views are very, very different. Carol's voted in and Don's voted out.
So the wind has rather been taken out of your sails, hasn't it? Because today we're talking on the 29th of March, and today was to be the big day to coincide with your opening.
It hasn't really, because we've actually slightly updated the play just this week.
We have, yeah.
So it's still really topical. And I think John Godber, he's opening with this in the West End. So this is your chance to see it before it opens in London, because it opens on the 3rd of April.
Has it not run before?
It's run in the UK
It's
last
been
year on tour, but it's opening in London West End in Trafalgar Studios on April the 3rd. So he's keeping it very up to date anyway. There's nothing in it that's kind of made irrelevant or incorrect by the sort of recent developments.
No,
I missed that. Have there been recent developments?
Well, I mean,
yes. What was it? There was a cabinet minister quoted today as saying, somebody said, "Oh, what's going on?" Oh, I can't remember what the quote was. It was a
Well, it was a disaster.
It was
a
basically
disaster. I said to Loveday earlier on, well, this is good, because whatever happens tonight with the Premier, we can never be as disastrous as Brexit's been.
It's true. We've all the way through, our preparation has been a lot better than the British government's for the yes. Yeah. I mean, ours will arguably touch fewer lives than Brexit, but we're better organised, that's for sure.
Is this a coincidence? This is also a Yorkshire play, or do you feel bound by your accent?
No, not at all.
No.
I mean, we've found that our accents have kind of thickened as we've been rehearsing.
Yeah.
So we are actually quite RP, really, aren't we, most of the time? Yeah. But since we've been doing this play, we've both got thicker. No, we wanted to find a vehicle for the two of us.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite difficult, isn't it, finding two-handers for a...
Yeah,
but no, we had quite a lot of ideas, and we were going to write something. But then Loveday's actually worked with John Godber quite a bit. She's been in one of his plays twice, and she's been directed by him. So we had a personal contact with him, and then we looked at his works, because she said to me, I didn't know this, but she said, he's written a lot of two-handers. Let's look at them. So we looked at one, but then we saw that he was doing this Scary Bikers, and that it was a Brexit play, and it was really up to date, and that it was going to the West End. And we thought, hey, if we can get something that's so hot now for the Netherlands, that would be fantastic. And fortunately, through the personal connection, he said yes.
The rights weren't actually strictly available, but I just said, Mark, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So I emailed, and I hadn't had contact with John for ages and ages and ages and ages. But I emailed the John Godber company in England and said, oh, look, we're just a very small organisation, and we'd really love to do Scary Bikers. What's the chance? Got an email back within the hour saying, "Oh, Loveday, fantastic to hear from you. Great." Well, there are various things, and we had to jump through a few hoops because it was commissioned by Sky Arts,
and it's going to be filmed.
And it's going to be filmed, so there were all sorts of people that had to say yes. But John really fought our corner for us, and we got the rights.
Is it technically difficult to do? Because I think it takes place at the cafe. I think the woman, what's the character's name?
Carol.
Oh, Carol.
Yeah.
Carol.
I
Yes.
mean, you run a cafe or something.
Yes,
That's where you
she's
meet.
opened a cycling cafe in her husband's memory.
Right, and that's where it starts, and
Yes,
then goes.
yeah. So we've got
Sounds technically quite challenging.
Technically, Michael, we've got a coffee percolator. We've got a
Not
pop-up.
a coffee percolator, it's a bean to coffee machine.
It's a bean to coffee machine.
How
I don't-
1970s is that?
W.C. Fields said, "Do not work with children or animals because you will be horribly upstaged."
You're not
I would
being
like-
upstaged by a coffee
Yes,
machine.
I'm being
you're
upstaged
not.
by a
You
coffee
are so
machine, a
not.
pop-up tent, a tandem, and 2 racing bikes. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Of course, it's great. I mean, it's lovely because it's so atmospheric, and in these intimate spaces that we're playing.
I don't find anything that I do with Loveday a technical challenge because we both are on it. We both have the same attitude to everything, and if in this little moments where we might be slightly upset with it, it's so over in like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But if you do a big play like Importance, like what we did in that's when there's a lot of technical difficulties because it's just the sheer number of people that you've got to.
You're not worrying about falling off your bike.
No, actually, we've not. I don't think that
we haven't yet.
That's not.
There's always a first time.
Yeah. No, I think I would touch wood. I think that's been easier than we thought.
Yes.
And we should mention Tax, who've lent us the equipment
Oh, they're amazing. We've got these
stand the bikes on, so we can
Yeah.
cycle them on stage.
Tax
and
are
we should
great.
mention the vacancy feature because we
Yeah.
borrowed all the bikes. We
that
borrowed the tandem
amazing
from them.
tandem that you're going to see on stage tonight has been lent to us by De Vacanti Fietser in Amsterdam, and it's a wonderful beast. It's amazing. Wait,
Are they going to let you keep it?
I wish.
No, because it's worth about €5,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
The bikes are ridiculously expensive.
He has an amazing business selling bikes that all cost from about 4,000, but his business is doing
But they're
really,
very
really well.
specialist. They're bikes that you can literally tour around the world on.
Yeah.
And he does. He sets people up to go all the way around the world. I mean, he's got I can't say it. De Vacanti Fietser in Hindi and in all these different languages of places that he's been. And yeah, it's an amazing shop if you're feeling like traveling
They've
around
been
the
lovely
world.
to us. Really helped. So.
Yeah.
No, I think also all the technical stuff has been pretty easy actually so far. I think
I had great fun making the sound cues because in England the lorries pan one way and then in the when we get onto the continent they go the opposite way and
that sounds a bit nerdy.
yeah.
Is anybody going to notice that?
I notice.
Exactly.
I know. As long as the speakers are wired correctly, of course. But it's been quite a challenge for you, hasn't it, Mark? Because it's very, very different from the role that you played last time with me.
It's been a challenge, but it's one that I've really loved doing.
Just tell us a little bit about
because
your character.
But Don is an ex-coal miner. So he's like a really, really working class character. There's quite a bit of flashback, and we also play each other's ex-partners in the play. So I play Rob, the not ex-partner, but the dead husband of Carol, and Loveday plays Jean, the dead wife of Don. So you see the contrast between the fact that she's a middle-class girl, who's had a lovely middle-class life, and he's had a sort of, really very, very working class, ordinary.
Well, it's been more of a struggle for him.
Struggle,
I mean, he says
yeah.
at one point, because he says, "Oh, you got a head start on me, story of my life."
Yeah.
And I think that's been the case for him. He went to one of these schools where they didn't do O-levels. You remember O-levels. I did O-levels. But they only did CSEs, which is kind of a lower grade of exam at his school. And that's kind of been his upbringing. And it's about, he hasn't ever managed to escape the kind of, I want to call it a poverty trap, but it's not quite that, but you know what I mean. Whereas Carol's husband, Don, he was at school originally with Don. Rob and Don were at school together, but Rob went to the grammar school, did better exams, and therefore did better and managed to move away from this pit village.
So I think a lot of new horizons open up when he meets Carol. He's been he's kind of representative, I suppose, in a way, of a certain kind of people who voted Brexit, maybe not understanding what all of the implications of it were going to be, and I think it kind of does have a message behind it that education is everything. Good social services and a well-supported infrastructure and economy is everything. And he's not had the opportunities that Carol's had one way or another. And he really goes on this journey where he discovers a lot about himself. And at the same time, Carol, having thought that he's a bit of a no-hoper, not very interesting working class guy who doesn't match with her at all, finds out that there are a lot of good things about him. And so
That's entirely fair, but he's certainly not her. He's a very different type from her husband.
Yeah, absolutely. She definitely doesn't think he's her type at the beginning, though, right?
Oh no, absolutely
So
not.
over what time period does the play take place?
It goes back to 1984.
Yes,
So-
and then we
so
jump
we
to
flash back-
But from
2007.
when the two characters meet, what's the time
We
span?
we meet sort of only in 2016. We meet in 2016
Yes.
and go we set off on the bike
So they
ride
meet, yeah.
on the day of the referendum in 2016.
So they meet kind of
So
early
they didn't have
2016.
time to vote.
Oh, no, they did.
They do, because they set off in the afternoon. You hear that? That's my
Yeah,
line.
yeah.
They set off in the afternoon, so they do have time to vote in the morning, and that's an interesting scene.
But the play covers a flashback of their previous partners. So we go back to 1984, and then
And
we
how,
go
and
into-
how the characters the woman votes to stay.
Yes.
Yes,
And-
and Don votes to leave.
And is there any change of opinion and mind by the end of the play, or is that a spoiler?
That's a spoiler, I think. I think you have to come and see it. And you have to go to qtc.nl, buy your tickets and come and see it. To find
There
out.
probably aren't many people who still thought it was a good idea.
Well, maybe not here, but you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
I think that's a sad thing. I think I would be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, there are. I met someone quite recently at the gym. I was talking to someone at the gym about the play, and he said that he was actually Dutch, but he was saying that he would have been a Brexiteer. I mean, that's a slightly different thing if you're not actually, if you couldn't have voted. But I think, I don't know, that's very complex to explain that. I think what John Godber's tried to do in this play is to look at both sides of that and to understand better why people might have voted to go out.
But does he have a viewpoint, and does that come across in the play?
Yeah, it does. I think, don't you?
Yes, I think so. I mean, there's a point that's being made, is that I think Don has been very much seduced by the promise of £350 million a week for the NHS, which is what the Leave camp were promising. They put it on the side of a bus and all went round England, went round the poorer, the working class areas of England, and people saw this and they saw, the country suffering, and they were...
But they realised very soon that was a lie. So why
Yeah.
would
Well,
they
we
still
hope that.
support it?
We hope they realise that. But I think that even if you talk to well-informed people who are living abroad who were British would be engaged with the whole Brexit thing because it was about their own sort of futures and the future of the country they came from. So we're all very engaged with it. But I think even, if you are that, I was very much personally for Remain, but I couldn't vote because I've lived outside of the UK for longer than 15 years. But even I didn't anticipate all of the implications of it. So how could anybody have known that? Of course.
I think this is the point that nobody, we're going on uncharted territory here, and we've only got 2 or 3 hours.
Yes.
Are there any other Brexit plays?
Orange Theatre
Orange
did the
Theatre
B
did the B
word.
word, they wrote
That was written by Christine Johansson.
But that was
and
set in
John
Amsterdam,
Mabry.
wasn't it?
That was set in Amsterdam, and that wasn't really about Brexit.
That wasn't about people who'd
who
voted for it. Yeah.
No. And I'm sure in England there are some.
Well,
Brexit
of course,
plays
there was the National Theatre play, which was sort of a kind of they did a lot of interviews with people, and it was real vox pop stuff.
Right, yeah.
I forgot what it was called. It was called Hour something. I've forgotten what it's called now. But I went to see it actually, and it was great. I saw it live, and I thought it was great.
You're not.
I saw it actually on the night that Mrs. May went to the country and lost a lot of seats.
You're not worried that, as far as your play is concerned, people are going to say, "Oh no, not Brexit again. We've had enough of that."
It's not really about Brexit.
No.
The Brexit is the backdrop, but it's a love story. It's about.
I think it's more positive than that as well, because we've realised quite quickly that it's quite metaphorical. So the two characters, having voted different ways, are quite sort of symbolic of a country split. And I think the play has got quite a bit in it that's about how do you resolve that. You can also look at it in that way. And we've tried to drive it in that way,
Yes,
to make it a thing
definitely.
that's not sort of heavy-handed about Brexit, but sort of says what's the way forward for and not just Britain, because let's be honest, what's happening with Brexit in the UK is not so different to what's happening in the US, and not so different to what's happening in other European countries, Barcelona and all that sort of thing. So.
Okay, well, I think we'll leave it there, and we'll anticipate with great excitement the outcome of Brexit and the play.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you both very
Thank
much
you
for
very
that.
much.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Arts Talk Radio online. Interviews and features on the arts in Holland, in English. That was Loveday Smith and Mark Winstanley, who are appearing in the QE2 production of John Godber's play Scary Bikers, which is on tour in Holland until the 13th of April. Well, that's all for now, so until the next time, it's goodbye. I'm Michael Hasted.